My name is Marc Jones. I'm a candidate for Plaid Cymru in Fflint Wrecsam. How did I end up doing this? I suppose it's been a lifetime of community campaigning, of being active in my local community. I was raised in Flintshire. I've lived in Wrexham for 40 years. So it felt like the perfect fit for me. It's where I've raised my kids. My kids are now raising their kids. And so that means the world to me, being able to try anyway to make sure that they have a better life and the next generation do follow on and we're in a better place because of the changes we make. I don't think excitement is the word. I think responsibility. There's a huge responsibility on us to deliver more for our communities. We've seen the battering that places like Flintshire and Wrexham have had over decades, to be honest with you, and they need that inspiration, ambition, vision to believe that things can get better. I think people are disillusioned with politics because they've seen that managerial style of politics not delivering for their communities. And I think when you take that long-term perspective, you see how much further down communities have gone as a result of mismanagement. And that's what we're going to try to address. And that's, like I say, I wouldn't say I was excited about it, but I do feel that's the direction we want to move people in. I think it all comes down to health. Ultimately, it affects everybody, regardless of age. And I think there are specific things, whether it's sorting out the parking in the mailer, whether it's making sure that people can see their GPs, whether it's making sure that the 300 people in North Wales who are fit to leave district general hospitals can actually find somewhere to go in their community. That unblocking of the logjam for me is absolutely crucial, because if once you unblock the logjam of the 8 o'clock call, once you unblock the logjam of A&E and get ambulances back on the road rather than parked up, once you unblock those acute beds, then you've got a chance of actually dealing with people's health problems. But I think as well, we've had a sticking plaster approach to health for far too long. What we need is that preventative agenda. And I think that Plaid Cymru's manifesto is quietly ambitious in that transformational way. We're going to address the short-term and the medium-term issues, but there's a long-term issue, and it will take 10 years longer to get to that preventative stage where we're not picking people out of the river, we're stopping them falling in the river in the first place. No, absolutely not. When you've got 3,000 houses already with planning permission, when you've got 1,600 houses, properties lying empty in Wrexham alone, and there's 500 in Flintshire as well, this is not a case of not being in favour of housing. What we desperately need, though, is the right kind of housing, the housing that is working for local communities and local need, rather than for big housing corporations. And at the moment, what we've got is a planning system that only works for big corporations who naturally want to build the most profitable houses possible in the easiest locations. We want to transform that fundamentally because we need a local development plan that works for communities rather than for those housing developers. So it's not NIMBYism at all. I think quite the opposite. It's actually advocating for what we actually need rather than for what is being thrust upon us. The words nations of sanctuary do appear in the manifesto. It might seem semantic, but they are there. And I think we've explained, although it doesn't seem to have got through to certain people, that the nation of sanctuary is to deal with people who are already here. It's to ensure that they integrate into our communities. And that's really important, isn't it? You know, when we had Ukrainians coming over here and they were settled in my ward here in Wrexham, they were helped to integrate, and they've managed to move on now. They because of the Nation of Sanctuary policy. And I think it's really important that we do ensure that Wales is a welcoming place. The name of the documentary, Welcome to Wrexham, we keep getting told we're a welcoming, friendly community. It's really essential that we embrace that. But it's also very important to realise that this election is not about migration. Wales does not have a devolved migration policy. We want, as Plaid Cymru, to see migration devolve to Wales so that we can make decisions best suited to Wales and its communities. We do need managed migration. We're not for open borders, but we have to do it on our terms rather than having it imposed on us by London. Yes, I think anyone who knows anything about Plaid Cymru knows that we're for independence. It's our USP. It's why we were formed. It's why we campaign now. We believe all decisions affecting Wales should be made in Wales. That hasn't changed. But we are fighting an election with a specific budget, with specific aims, and the whole goal of what we're trying to do now is to ensure that more decisions are made in Wales for the benefit of the people of Wales. I think Welsh media education is something, if you look in Wrexham specifically, it's grown quite dramatically over the past 15, 20 years. It's been something that people have had to campaign for. It hasn't actually been welcomed in some circles. And I think people have embraced the language, even if they don't speak it themselves, even if there's no tradition of speaking it in the family. They've embraced that because they realise it's an additional skill. And I think that trajectory will continue upwards. I think if we're looking at party policies that we want to implement, I think it is the childcare, the early childcare, because it puts in the foundational blocks, not just for the children aged 9 months to 4 years old, although that is really important. I think visiting a local play nursery was really important to understand. It's been a long time since my kids were in nursery. It was really important to understand the value, the added value of socialisation, of getting kids ready for school, because there are huge issues in those early years in schools where children are not ready. And that's partly a COVID hangover, but I think there are specific issues in some places as well. So that, to me, it's a building block, and it will help people get back into work. It will ensure there's more money in people's pockets. But it also is transformational for me in the sense that it will enable children to grow more quickly in terms of their educational attainment, and in terms of places like Estonia, who are #1 in PISA rankings. Wales is slipping in those PISA rankings. I think having an early childcare wraparound really does make a difference. If we can turn around and say there are fewer people waiting for lengthy on waiting lists for operations, if we can turn around and say we've got better educational attainment, if we're producing more apprentices and well-paid jobs, and if we're dealing with the housing crisis, that's a long list, I grant you, but that's why we have to be so ambitious. We have to turn around decades of decline. I think we can do it, but obviously we will need to win an election first. I'm taking nothing for granted, and I just hope we can get there. Plaid Cymru will always put the people of Wales first, the communities of Wales first. I'm determined to make sure that's the case when we get down to Cardiff. We're not going to Cardiff just to sort of vote the right way. We're going down there to advocate for the people of Fflint Wrecsam, to advocate the people of North Wales. I think this is the real opportunity to get a First Minister from North Wales for the first time ever. So it's transformational. absolutely transformational, and I hope people will give Plaid Cymru that opportunity.